Tonight's the night, and it will happen again and again and again. Has to happen. Hello everyone, E here, and you know what time it is. Time for another update of the LEGO Hogwarts Castle. Let's get to it. Before I get to what the title of this video entails, I'll get to the rest of the things that I've actually changed in the castle since the last time you've seen a video. And they are mostly cosmetic things, but I am required to mention them nevertheless. Now I have placed all these cheese wedges again from one side to the other, as well as these other shapes here, because before we didn't have them all, and I didn't have all those pieces placed, but now I do, so good thing to get that out of the way. And I've also redesigned over here the windows. If you remember, before we had another 2 pairs of windows underneath, but I removed them so we can actually have this little element here to kind of represent the rest of the windows in the building. I didn't want things to be completely different, although there are some small cosmetic differences here and there. I wanted to keep this whole idea. And also, what is the more annoying thing is that I actually managed to follow this pattern here where it was needed. If you remember, we had the coloring was off, and I really wanted to go back and fix it, but it involved me actually going underneath the pieces and kind of trying to replace them without taking everything apart, which wasn't as big a pain as I initially thought, but it was still a pain nevertheless. Glad it's over, and still not completely happy with it. For example, you see over here this line, the reddish brown that follows this whole area here. Now here I cut it because I'm not completely sure if I want to have it visible here, because we have 2 different patterns over here. Now one way would be to continue this all the way over here, and I'm not really sure I want to do that. The other way would be just to keep it here and simply hide this with a little well, not a bush, but at some point I'm planning to place leaves and some kind of you know, plants around the building, just to make it a bit more customized. I'm just gonna hide this with a plant or something at some point, but I've not really decided if we're gonna go the first route or the second. Over here, actually not really pressed down properly since I was going back. Yeah, there we go, it's a bit better. I just still need to press it down a little bit. Yeah, I guess I should do that on my own time. Now I want to show you from the front, since it will actually give you a better idea of what's going on. Now if you remember, before we didn't have these patterns over here, and especially before this side here with the building. Now we have this reddish brown line going all around, and kind of from afar it looks a lot better. It kind of really gives you this finishing touch. The other thing that I did is finish the roof over here of the side building, and let me just turn this around and show you a little bit in detail what exactly I mean. You can see from over here now that the pattern continues all throughout this side building and the front of the Great Hall. I think it looks a lot better. It was a bit annoying going back, but it's all done now, so thankfully we shouldn't have to go back anymore. Now one thing that I want to mention before I continue is the roof here. I initially made it so because I wanted to follow this particular shape, and once I was rebuilding, I didn't really go back and do this from scratch. I simply removed it and kind of worked underneath just to match the height of what the new project was looking like. But now I'm kind of thinking of taking the whole hat here of the front side of the great hall apart and kind of trying to mimic the same pattern here. And the main reason of that is that I think that this front side is a bit too tall now, because ideally this angle here should be starting around here or maybe here, not at the top of the front towers. That's a minor thing, but I think we could maybe decrease it a little bit. Also, the space from here to here needs to be a little bit more, looking at the pictures. So maybe I will just lower it down by 1 or 2 bricks, maybe 3 tops. We'll have to test out, and that will also give me the opportunity to remodel the roof. We will not have these different kind of slopes. So I will try to follow this pattern again. I'm not really sure if that is going to work, because we'll be kind of we have this pattern here on the front. Maybe we'll have to change that. We'll see. But the idea is to maybe remodel this a little bit and fix the angles here in the same process. Anyway, now since last time I did finish this the hat of the side building, and as before, it's nothing really special. It pops off quite easily, and it's actually pretty light this time around. I didn't really fill it with anything. I remember that maybe there were ideas to put something inside, but it was going to be a pain. Like basically there are just some pillars just so this doesn't fall apart when I press on it. But the idea is to, you know, keep the whole shape of the building kind of together. And one thing I had to change is this side here that is connected to the Great Hall. As you can see underneath, it's kind of ugly and unfinished, but this is hidden, and no need to waste parts needlessly. And as you can see, the only thing missing currently is these pieces here too. I only need maybe like a dozen of them, or 2 dozen for both sides. Now these I don't know what they're called, but they are pretty expensive. Like one of these is around 50 cents usually. I mean, you can find them cheaper, but people that have them cheaper on Blacklink don't really have all that many of them. And I will need well, here I need about 30 or so to finish this off and kind of do the same pattern as the rest of the roof. But anyway, other than that, and I decided just to have this connected here, because when I don't have it connected, you can see that it just, I mean, the building, because it's so big, it just kind of fidgets around a little bit, and this is not much, but really enough to kind of keep this immersion effect. And I think that's good enough. So I would rather just keep a 2-piece here holding the 2 sides together other than 2 1x1s. Anyway, other than that, the side building is kind of ready, except that there are no pictures inside that I've still not designed, but not really rushing that part. And of course the windows on the other side are also still missing, since they've not arrived from the order where I've placed those items. Another little thing that I fixed is this front side here. I have completely remodeled it. Well, remodeled is maybe a big word for it, but I've increased the size so it fits the new dimensions of the extension. So now it is a bit wider, this side. I tried different things initially, like for example, I wanted to switch the mechanism of the Hufflepuff entrance to make it like here and have this whole space here, remove this wall, place it here instead of having an arch. So this wall goes here, this mechanism and the entrance goes here, facing, come from this way, and we have this whole space, like just to customize it, almost just to have a bit more kind of room. But it turns out that I need a little bit more room for the mechanism, because obviously here is the entrance and the barrels that are sliding over kind of go up to here, and the mechanism itself needs space to kind of pull. So I'm using this side here. So basically what I'm trying to say is that this space was not going to be enough unless I change it completely. I didn't really want to do that. So I thought, well, why really put a porcupine in my underpants, you know? So I just kind of, I had actually taken it apart halfway when I came to this conclusion. So I went back, put it back together, and kind of just extended the plates a little bit, put the flooring again, and it's pretty much the same thing now. Again, this entrance here leads to the kitchens. This is the entrance from this building over here, and everything else is pretty much as it was. Now over here I kind of changed the thing. Like before we had a little gear here, but now I changed it so this little Hufflepuff crest, you can kind of spin it around, and once you spin it around you reveal the Hufflepuff entrance over here to the Hufflepuff common rooms. And I thought that made sense. Also, it's easy to turn. Initially I wanted to place like some kind of a ball shaped object, but then it was kind of, because it's a smooth surface, kind of difficult to turn around, and this really does the job. It also is not that tall, so it interferes with the whole tray going inside. And initially I was really a bit skeptical about these supports a few weeks after I placed them, but they actually really do the job properly. And the main issue for people that actually do this on a big scale is it's not the supports that much, but the flooring, because you really want to make this whole floor here smooth, and ideally you want everything here to be covered with tiles, and as long as underneath the surface is kind of even and leveled, it will be fine. Now, as you can see here, I've not done everything in tiles, but I have done these little kind of what do you call them, basically lines from one end to the other, which means that when the tray goes inside, there isn't any space where it kind of gets stuck. And what do I mean by that? For example, before I had basically these tiles from here to, for example, not all the way down, or maybe it was like the most of the weight was coming to this side and we had not so many tiles over here. So when I was placing the tray in, it always got stuck somewhere. But now when we have actually it's so even, I should be able to place this even with one hand without any issues. As I say that, it actually gets stuck somewhere. Doesn't like something here. There we go. If I had both my hands free, it would have been better. But anyway, that's pretty easy. It's important for this thing here that I've placed to be strong enough. Before it wasn't, but I kind of changed the pattern of the bricks here, so when I place my finger and pull, and even if it's somewhere there is a little bit of resistance, this doesn't fall apart as it was the case before. Now if we remove actually the side building now, another thing I wanted to, well, to me at least, was pretty important. If we remove the side building and we look through obviously the way here, and we look over here, we will see that I have done the corridor in a way that it actually makes sense. So for example, as you can see on the right, the wall kind of fits. So I have done it in a way that when this is slid in all the way to the wall, this little gap here is exactly against this opening. So basically this wall here is right next to this one, and this wall is right next to this wall, so it really matches. And for me that was very important to kind of keep the immersion, even though that this is pretty heavy. Now this is kind of stuck in, I don't know, yeah, just needs some bit more care. But yeah, again, there is, if I place my finger inside here, it's hitting the wall behind. Same with this, and once you put some lighting in there, it will be actually a lot better. But as you can see, if a minifig can easily kind of walk in here and not get lost within the walls themselves. Now I want to turn the building around and show you inside what I've done. I've not really placed any minifigures in the Great Hall, but I did something with the supports that I wanted to show you. So let's get to that. I actually thought this time around to open it in front of you. So as always, we remove this tower because we need to kind of open these doors here, and the tower is in the way. And then this rock cover needs to go, so we pick it up and we remove it. And the last thing we do is this tile that connects these two together. We remove that, and we gently pull from here, so these clips over here get released, and voila, there you go. The Great Hall is opened. So what I did is, before, over here you could see all the ugly black and dark bluish gray and light bluish gray and whatnot Technic bricks that I used to create these support pillars that kind of handle all the weight for the huge and heavy roof that can be removed. But I've hidden them now, well, partially. Now only this side I have finished because I wanted to test first how exactly these look. And what I've done is place these 2x6s first, and then after that I will place these 2x2, I don't know what they're called, basically just go in here and give you this finishing touch. And I think I like the way it is now. It gets this whole kind of arch shape finished, so nice and smooth. And I believe I'm gonna do that for the rest, so it will hide pretty much everything, and when you go here you won't really see anything. And I have a few ideas actually how to use this thing and the presence of the Technic bricks themselves to place the candles to create the floating candle effect in the Great Hall itself, and that will also use a support for that kind of idea, and also even hide further the Technic bricks. But I'm still waiting on the pieces for that, so that's why I've not done it yet. But ideally soon you should be able to see it, and also soon we'll actually see some students here. And this brings us to the final thing that I wanted to do today, and that is to show you the second Easter egg that I have placed in the castle. Something that's been going on for quite a while as an idea, and I've been slowly gathering pieces when I've been buying from various brickling shops. And alas, there's still maybe one or two elements that I still don't have, but will have soon. But I just couldn't really contain myself and really wanted to sit down and build this and obviously share it with you. Now, quite a while back, before we did the rebuild of the whole building, but we did finish the roof hat initially, people were suggesting that we should use this space here and place something there because it makes sense. But as I mentioned, the way that the roof hat works, in order for it to be removable in this thing, since it's pretty huge, like maybe 30 centimeters high, and so it doesn't fall apart when I do this, I couldn't really afford to put anything there because we need supports inside. But after we rebuilt this section here, from here to here, is not part of the roof hat, as the roof hat is from here to here, and it connects with Technic pins toward the top and toward the bottom over here. And as I was building it, I saw that the supports that I was placing inside kind of did the job well enough, because this space here is not so big, so I didn't really need to fill it with bricks almost at all. So I thought, well, actually here in this space, it makes sense that something could be hidden. So I decided, well, okay, we're actually going to use this for the second Easter egg. So how do we find the Easter egg? Now, the first one obviously is here, and you just pull this out, and I just killed Jafar. Yeah, there we go. And you see what's inside. Now I just need to restore this before moving on, otherwise it will bother me. There we go. And again, we're using the same idea over there. But first, again, as before, from the other side, first we need to remove this tower. That happens easily by just picking it up and placing it on the table. And then this side here, that is kind of it's just a cover basically, and I've not placed any modular plates, but it just comes off really easily, and there we go. Doesn't really matter if it comes off evenly or not, just very easy to put back together and very easy to take off. All that this does is kind of keep the immersion of this and this part, although initially it had the idea to keep the whole hat together from both sides and kind of sandwich it, but that was before. Now this part is into the castle, so it serves as the ground point for this, which is held by hair, and on the other side as well. So this is just basically cosmetic really on both sides. So we just pick it up, remove it, and over here now there are quite a few ugly pieces that I've placed, but again they're not visible, and we're trying our best to save pieces where possible. Believe me, before it was actually a lot uglier here, but I've actually placed some normal pieces back here because it was just a big mess. And yeah, now we just have a few other colorations here and there, but nothing too dramatic. So anyway, this is where the Easter egg is, and again, very easily from underneath here, these little spaces that I've left, you can place your finger and kind of slide it out, and then just as easily put it back together. And yeah, let's talk about it. It's a depiction again of something that is outside the Harry Potter universe. It's one of the series that I actually really enjoyed when I was younger, called Dexter. Maybe some of you have heard of it. It's well, long story short, it's about this kind of serial killer who, well, fictional serial killer who only kills other serial killers or other bad guys. Basically, he himself is not really a bad guy, but let's not digress too much. Anyway, I thought that it would be very interesting to make this little scene basically as an alternative ending to Harry Potter in a way, where he kind of kills Voldemort, and I've really tried to place all these little details, paying homage to the show itself and kind of connecting it with the Harry Potter universe where possible. And I thought it would be really interesting, and I thought it would be fun to build, and let me tell you, it was actually really fun to do, and kind of collect the pieces as time kind of went on, and trying to find the best clothes for Dexter and his face and hair, and because he always kind of makes this kill room where he places everything within in this bubble wrap bubble, so all the blood can not really be traced to him. And if any of you have watched the show, it would really make sense to you. But I really wanted to find a way how to make this way as if Voldemort is wrapped in a bubble wrap, so he can't move. And Dexter always shows like pictures of the victims of whoever he's killing, showing them why they're about to die. And I placed this little table with various tools. Only thing I have is these bags. I want them to be black because after Dexter kind of kills his victim, he cuts them in pieces, and this is not for kids, by the way, and places them in these black garbage bags. But I don't have black bags currently, and I believe the ones that I could get are from the Quickie Mart set. And I've actually found a seller where I could buy many of those quite cheaply, but those are in the mail, so I will replace this with a black one and maybe place one or two more over here. That's why I've left some space. And yeah, and behind, obviously, try to place some various elements like the Elder Wand over here. I am still exploring whether I should place some other stickers other than this hourglass here in the background. But yeah, I thought that this is something very interesting to do, and something that really kind of made sense to merge these things. Initially, actually, it wasn't Voldemort that Dexter was about to kill in this depiction, in this little scene, but it as time went on, I kind of expanded on the idea, and I thought, well, actually, it makes a lot of sense. I think the thing that made me change my mind was I accidentally saw this picture. I mean, I knew that it existed before, but I just had forgotten about it. So I kind of saw it by accident again at some point, and I thought, well, actually, this makes a lot of sense, and this is really lovely tile. It's not a sticker too, so I really love that. And obviously we have this where Dexter kind of extracts a blood from his victim and places on this blood slide as a trophy. I'm really happy with this blood slide thing that I did, but I see some people that kind of cheated it, just placed this little 1x2 transcendent tile and colored it with a red marker in the middle, which looks a lot better, but I feel like this is kind of cheating, and I don't really like that too much. But maybe I will end up doing it because it does look pretty good compared to now. And I don't think there is a particular piece in trans clear that I can use to do what I want. But anyway, I think this is pretty much finished, and I'm really happy with the way that it looks. Tell me if anything can really be improved. I mean, again, it's a small thing, and I've tried to do as much detail as possible in kind of this condensed space. And again, I'm really happy to be able to kind of place other fandoms and other shows and themes that I'm passionate about, or kind of connect to my childhood or to when I was younger, or things that I like. So I have actually quite a few more ideas to place in the castle, but it just, again, things need to line up, I need to find a good space for it, and then I need to make sure that the pieces actually exist for me to recreate it properly. And it really depends on numerous things, but when I find it fitting, I really enjoy placing these little Easter eggs within the castle. And one day I hope to have dozens of them, as I'm sure the castle in its current state will be quite big, and there will be plenty of space to place all sorts of things. So let me just put the things back together and give you some closing words before I let you go. Now, what does the future hold? Again, I'll mention the roof redesign that I will try to do, but if it turns out that what I'm trying to accomplish really doesn't work, doesn't look as good as I would want it to look, I will just go back to this, because although I think that it does differ from the original design, and this angle kind of does bother me. It's not really that much of a big deal, and I'll just keep it as it is. Now, since we've done the tray underneath leading to the kitchens and to the Hufflepuff common room, we've done the Easter egg here, we've basically completed the side building. So many little spaces for why do I keep saying buildings? For paintings and pictures. Really need to work on that at some point. But other than that, this is pretty much finished. It leaves the kitchens themselves, and I really have a nice idea about that. I just need to replenish my pieces a little bit, which are still in the mail, and really want to do something. And since I have a kind of a weird plan about it, I might put another Easter egg there, because although the space isn't much, but we'll see. I'll have to check the list of my possible Easter egg ideas, and might be able to do something there. If not, we'll just leave it empty for, well, whenever the opportunity arises. But yeah, maybe I will do some work on the kitchens. I'm not really sure if it would be ready by next time, but I'd really love to kind of finish that part too and really move to the grand staircase properly. Now, the grand staircase is going to be a problem because of the rebuild itself. This building is now wider, and the whole pattern here is different. Probably the circle itself will have to be a bit bigger, and it will definitely have to change as far as positioning goes. Before, we had the circle kind of here, and maybe this quarter here of the circle, 30% of it was overlapping with the building itself, but now that percentage will probably change, and that's not really that big of a deal. We will follow the math and kind of build it again, at least as far as supports go. However, the circle itself, I think I have it here somewhere. Yeah, however, this thing that I actually put a lot of effort to build properly, yeah, from underneath it looks terrible, but might have to take it apart and build it again, because maybe if it will have to be either a little bit bigger, although probably by a small margin, or most likely the part here that didn't need to be built will have to be, the angles will be different. That kind of depresses me a little bit, but yeah, under the right circumstances, I will probably go back and redo it. It might even turn out better a little bit, because here I was really happy with the way that some of the angles are. I know that they will be hidden probably by flowers and grass and whatnot, but still it pulls me a little bit. But yeah, I might have to go back and redo this, so probably that's the thing that I'm going to be working on for sure next time, having to redo this whole base. And that's very important. I know that this, as it showed you, looks very boring, but if this is not strong enough, if I can't jump on this without it falling apart, it means that the building itself will not hold. I need to be able to pick up the building, although I'll be able to take it into 3 or 4 sections. I need to be able to pick this thing up, and for the building not to fall apart, and it's pretty heavy. So it's very important to put a lot of time and care into this base. That aside, I would really want to work on the inside of the Great Hall and place some students. I've actually been replenishing slowly my reserves of minifigs, been buying uniforms and legs and different faces, as well as a lot of food elements. So I think that will be the easiest and kind of most fun little project to populate the Great Hall inside. but I kind of want to place the candles first. And once I've done that, we'll do the rest as kind of a little reward for all the effort that we've put in. Other than that, I think that's pretty much it. I really thank you for watching again, and again, we'll always appreciate if you like and subscribe and follow all the progress of the castle. It's been nearly a year since I started doing this, and look how far we've come. If you go watch episode 1 and see what shape we started in and what how the castle looked and now what it looks like, it's been hundreds and hundreds of, well, I don't know if it has been 1,000 hours. Probably not just quite yet, but for sure hundreds of hours of work on this thing. And sometimes it's the adult in me just thinks that it's just kind of too much and there isn't much point to it. But then again, when I look at it and see the result and that I like how much how well it looks after all this effort, I kind of discard the initial notions pretty quickly. But again, thank you for watching. I hope to see you very soon within the next 2 weeks, and thanks for supporting me and all the encouraging words as always. Thanks, stay healthy, and see you soon. Bye bye.